Okay, so today I decided to do a totally different style. This is how I study. So it is called Prosperity Secrets. And since my handle was Prosperity Jayne, Prosperity Secrets by Prosperity Jayne. And I took some different authors, and some of you have probably ever even heard of. And of course, I did that on purpose so it might have a little bit of some different input around prosperity. You can take notes if something jumps out at you. There'll be a lot of different suggestions and ideas. And as a result of that, I'm happy to share the notes if anybody wants those. So being that said, the first one I'm going to start with is called Wake Up to Wealth. And it's by Bob Mandel. And he talks about the mind being like an iceberg. And our conscious thoughts are only the tip of the iceberg. And he goes on to say that most of the movie that we create are out picturing in life, that it's buried in our unconscious minds until we see it projected out into our lives and it shows up as conditions. And then we get to take a look at it and say, oh, I want to change this by going back to the cause versus focusing on the condition. So when he's talking about until it is projected in our lives, we can take this idea, and you remember the old film, it was like it had the projector and the light came into the projector and the film ran on it. Well, I want you to think about that as the presence, the light of God being that light that shines through on your movie. And if God is that universal energy which is empowering us, and it's projecting that light onto the images that we are feeding it, because we truly are responsible for what images we're feeding out there on our movie and whatever thoughts we're holding. So as a result of that, I chose this one to, in the daily practice, I've been adding putting God's light behind my images of the movie that I'm projecting every day. So then we're shedding light on a situation, as well as we're coming from a place of light and being responsible for how our movie's showing up. And for me, I'm noticing a really big difference from this by stopping when I do my visualization and adding light to it. So that is one that he says. The other one he talks about is that you're either proactive or you're reactive, which we have definitely heard that before. And I love this one about manage your business. He says, and make sure not to confuse business with busyness. And another one that he talked about was the energy, that everything is energy. So if everything's energy, then that means money is energy. So if we allow the energy we share with the world to be exchanged for money, because it's all energy. So it's just an energy exchange. And then money is a natural shift that's happening so that there actually is a give and receive. This was a great shift in perception for me. So when we go into a bank and let's just say we deposit a $100 bill, we hand the teller the $100 bill, and the teller doesn't write your name on, okay, Jayne Coley deposited on this date $100. When we go to take that $100 back out of the bank, the teller also doesn't go, oh, let me go find Jayne Coley's $100 bill. So you may think of it as your money, but actually the bank is using your money to create a profit. And so what's, I think, kind of ironic around that is technically you're loaning the bank your money for its business. So all of a sudden, you're actually an investor just because you have a bank account. It's just those little tweaks that allow you to see yourself as more financially prosperous, and it allows you to embody that easier when you can see different examples for that. And he also went on to share about when we're happy, when we feel loved, we tend to accomplish more because we have a lightness of our spirit. And I believe it's this lightness of our spirit where we're not, oh my gosh, I got to pay this, I got to take care of this, when are my clients going to come? That's definitely what pushes it away versus maintaining a lightness and shifting our perception. So the next book is The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. And this was another great one I did this week. So for every complaint, you do 5 gratitudes to that person through a thought, a word, or an action. So 5 gratitudes. She actually has 10 gratitudes. So every time I caught somebody complaining about somebody, I said, could you maybe do 5 gratitudes for that person? And I noticed how many times we complain. And it isn't always about a person, just complaining. So doing 5 gratitudes, it's almost like you're changing the pattern of how you see things in your life as soon as you catch yourself complaining about a person, place, or something in your life, what's going on. Another one she shared around your health is the degree that you are grateful for your health is the exact degree that your health will magically increase. And this one, I've had a lot of reflection because of my dad. Every time I notice just some little thing in my body, I'm like, wow, I'm just so grateful because I have this totally different perspective now as a result of seeing my dad. I had another one also when I went to complain about paying for what it was for something. I caught myself and again did gratitude that, oh my gosh, how grateful I am I can buy this. So the same idea around your money as well. She says, if there is a lack of money, this is Rhonda Byrne, if there's a lack of money in your life, know that feeling worried, anxious, fearful, or doubtful about money can never bring more money to you. Those feelings come from the lack of gratitude you have for the money you have received. And this is an exercise that she goes on to do, which is you write on a dollar bill and you write this line, thank you, God, for all the money I've been given all my life. Thank you, God, for all the money I've been given all my life. And of course, she wants you to read it multiple times in the day. But that's quite a thing to be really grateful you're seeding and blessing that which you already have. Another one that Rhonda Byrne had was this idea of either getting a picture of somebody or somebody that you love dearly, and the ideal is a picture, or visualize that person who's close to you and see them receiving great health and wealth and that they're really happy and lit up. That exercise is quite powerful. I used to do that for cities. I would see a whole city happy and the people and wealthy. And it works quite well for individuals. And it also takes you out of your story and sees it for others. Another one from Rhonda Byrne is that you say, thank you, thank you, thank you, 3 times. Every time you want to bring into form something as though you've already received it. So let's say I wanted to have the computer, but I wasn't, it wasn't quite happening. My computer kept dying on me. I would be saying, thank you, thank you, thank you in advance of receiving. And this is another one from Catherine Ponder talks about this one as well as Rhonda does. Now jumping over to Financial Freedom by Dr. Lloyd Strong and Reverend Marcia Sutton. These are great little tidbits that I've started to realize how often we dip into this arena of lack is in the past. Need is in the future. I need this. I need this. It's in the future. I don't have this. It's in the past. Abundance is in the now. And wealth is based on the idea of well-being. And that was wonderful too, to put health and wealth in that well-being. And then that my son was talking to me the other day about money. And he was saying, oh my gosh, you did really great. This sale that you had. And I said, well, actually, Harrison, wealth comes from a feeling. It's a feeling. It's not an amount of money. So it comes to you as a result of that calm feeling that you have. So wealth is a feeling, and wealth is a feeling of, I am enough. So if you catch yourself in the story of, oh, I just don't, I keep repeating this, I'm not enough. Wealth is a feeling of, I am enough. This one I'd never heard before. And again, this is my style. I just get out a whole bunch of books and I take notes, and then I kind of digest it in and put my own words with it. The practical exercise of managing money, our finances, is to produce greater clarity of mind. I never would have put those two together. So when you have your finances in order, you have your books in order, you can have a picture of what's going on in your life. This is what they're suggesting, that you have greater clarity. The next one is Catherine Ponder. Open your mind to receive. Again, I tried to choose books that you probably may or may not have on your shelf, just a little different one. And she uses the gift of prophecy. And I had a minister do this one yesterday. So if you are unsatisfied with any area of your life, then you use this gift of prophecy. So you start speaking that which you seek, whether it's great ideas, or you want greater clarity, or great cash flow, or you speak that I have an abundance of this, or I am prosperous right now. And she also is quite strong in that when you are using these deliberate words, use them boldly. And catching your words, what you are. What was interesting is she started off by saying that prophecy means oral utterance. And then later, as she talked about using the gift of prophecy, she said that prophecy was prediction of the future under divine guidance. Prediction of the future under divine guidance. So Harrison and I were out for a walk yesterday, and we're coming down the hill. And this was where it jumped out at me, this importance of prophecy. And he says to me, everything's falling into place. I said, oh, can you use a different word than fall into place? He goes, well, everything's dropping into place. I go, ooh, can we try another one? He goes, what about everything's floating into place? And then I said, what about if everything's coming into alignment? So again, it seems like not much, but when you think of alignment, you're there. When you think about falling into place, dropping into place, floating, it's out there. When you're in alignment, you're in alignment. That's it. So that's what she means by boldly speaking it. It's not so much the word speaking loudly, it's bold, that these are bold statements of right now, present tense. And another thing that she mentioned about was that the act of predicting intuitively, with that whole act, that this is what you're doing with the gift of prophecy, you can hasten your good by picturing it and speaking your good, which we do know. Next person, Edwene Gaines, a woman of power. Now, Edwene Gaines has 4 basic principles when it comes to prosperity. Tithing is her first, that you give 10% where you're spiritually fed. The thing that I really love what Edwene goes into is what is spiritually fed. What is the definition of that? And it is a combination. So she says, the person or spiritual center that wakes you up and gets you back on your spiritual path. So wakes you up and gets you back on your spiritual path. So you are spiritually fed. And the whole point is that you're not just eating the food, but it like inspires you to embody it and to move toward that greater divine expression of who you already are. I call that, when I was looking at it, I thought, oh, that's conscious circulation. And that's exactly what it is, conscious circulation with tithing. The second one, Reverend Linda, bow, forgive, forgive, forgive. Everybody, all the time. And for me, I did this really beautiful exercise with my dad 3 weeks ago or a month ago, where I the whole story came through me of what I'd held for many years, and I was able to forgive and ask for forgiveness from him, and put this all forth. And what forgiveness does, I believe, is it lightens your load, period. You just lighten up. And if money's attracted where there is this free flowing conscious circulation, you've lightened yourself up. The third one that she speaks of, oh, just a sec. The third one that she speaks of, Edwene Gaines, around prosperity, is she speaks of that goals, set clear goals that are measurable and tangible. And I love this part, be willing to direct your faith toward receiving and achieving it. So you got to believe it. You got to yes, this is happening. Yes, I'm going to put my energy in. It's not just write a goal out. You have to be willing to direct your faith toward receiving and achieving it. And so I got thinking about, well, why goals? And goals give us these checkpoints to make sure we're heading in the direction of our vision. And we all need those checkpoints, I believe, because they're like benchmarks. And goals are not our purpose. They're not our vision. They're just benchmarks. That's exactly what they are. The fourth one that she speaks of is divine purpose. So this is Edwene Gaines on prosperity. So these are all the greats that I just love out there on prosperity. Divine purpose she speaks of. We have everything it takes to do everything we want to be. Everything it takes. So you want to be a writer? You already have everything it takes. You already have all the skills. You already have all the gifts. Trust God has a plan for you. And I believe your divine plan, God's vision for each one of you, that it's deciphered, that divine plan is deciphered by doing what you love, what brings you passion, what transforms both you and others around you. So I see it is that connecting of oneness from others as well is not just a purpose for you, but how it affects others. The other point that Edwene Gaines mentioned that I really liked was listen more. Listen to what people want, teach from their needs, not what you think they need. Meet them where they are as co-equal, not as a guru. So I like that one as well. So this is one that I developed, Prosperity Jayne, and I developed this in ministerial school. This was an exercise we did, and that was give yourself a handle, a special name. Edwene Gaines has one, I'm a woman of power. I had one that I adopted back in ministerial school, and it was, I am a strong, powerful, feminine woman. So I've been doing that one for years. So come up with a handle for yourself. Next person on prosperity. This is John Randolph Price, The Abundance Book. I have several of his, but this is taken from The Abundance Book. Again, critical thoughts and feelings of fear will hold you back from your good. A consciousness of love and trust will speed up your flow. So if you want to speed up your flow, ditch the fear, come from love and trust, and lighten. It's definitely that forgiveness. Love, this one I really liked. Love is the fulfillment of the law. Faith is the energy that clears the channel. Love is the fulfillment of the law, and faith is the energy that clears the channel. I thought that was great. It's like it clears the pipes. Do not think of receiving your good tomorrow. God works in the now. If you live in the future, your prosperity will always be a day ahead of you. Abundance is in the now. I like that one as well. It's a pretty clear picture. Mary Morrissey. So I actually got it from Genevieve Behrend's story of how she became Thomas Troward's one and only pupil, which we know from the story. And that I believe that it was like that little booklet that she wrote around harnessing the invisible power. It is a master class about taking action when you're divinely guided. We all get we get insights, we get guided. It's whether we take action on what we're guided. Action is the magic that makes welcome all things necessary for fulfillment of our dreams. So we have to take the steps as we're guided. And I have this thing that I do it right in the moment. And that has really served me well, is taking action when I feel divinely guided. And in the book, she talks about, Genevieve, when we move forward quickly, when we get an insight, calmly in our emotions and confidently in our knowing, leaving no stone unturned. As we do this, we begin to see the magic happen in our lives. And it does. Things open up. I see it all the time when I follow through with divine insight. The other story that Mary refers to quite often is from Albert Einstein. And Mary talks about, Einstein mentions, if he had 1 hour to solve a problem that was his life depended on it for him to find the solution, that he would spend 55 minutes on the question, because he knew that he could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. Because of course he's going to the source. So Mary calls this the highly calibrated questions. So I'm just going to put a few of those out, a few examples. How can I serve more people? How can I go on a vacation for 2 weeks and make money doing it? What would I love to do with my time and talent? And how can I do it in such a way that it sustains the lifestyle I love? The other thing Mary talks about with calibrated questions is never to ask why or how. Why is this happening, God? How am I going to do this? It's that we are to ask, who am I becoming? And what can I do with what I have, with where I am? The other author this was my very first book, my last author that I'm citing is Creating Money by Sanaya Roman. She had a whole series that were channeled. And she states, as you recognize each fear, you'll be guided to ways of releasing it. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to examine any recurring situation in our lives. Well, we know that one. That's causing us pain or struggle, and we're right back to that image of the movie that we're projecting, to put God's light in it and bring the light to the fear. So she's saying it just a different way, and bring it in behind it. She is saying, imagine that you're approaching a cool blue flame that represents your soul, and ask your soul to release, clear, and heal your fears. So the blue flame, it's quite a powerful exercise, but it's just like what I started with, that you're projecting that light of the presence of God from within you to infuse your fears with God's light and love. So finally, I want to offer my note to myself, my to-do list. And like I said, this is my style of how I study. So number 1, surrender my desires and fears to the presence within. Number 2, take time every day to express my gratitude for spirit. Like, thank you, God, for this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The 3 thank yous. Listen daily to the voice of God within for guidance and instruction, no matter what it's about, whether it's about my kids, whether it's about money, whether it's about whether I'm even going shopping and take this particular road. The 4th one, forgive everyone and everything in my consciousness. Lighten up. And the 5th one is to practice daily, unconditional love with everyone to the best of my ability. And that's what I have for you. Those are my prosperity secrets. So I hope you get some gems out of some different types of books. And thank you. And